Hello, welcome to Real Magic Review. My name is Steve Faulkner, but you probably know that, and it's fairly irrelevant anyway, isn't it? But what is relevant is this is Real Magic Review. Thanks for coming. I've just got here. I got here in a blind panic because the chicken didn't cook on time and I had to wrap it in foil. And I've got the kids and it's just all terrible. But I'm here now. I'm a bit flustered, I'm not going to lie to you. But while I sort my head out, have a little think about looking at onlinemagic.co. That's my online magic school resource. Encyclopedic it is, labyrinthine even, which probably isn't a good thing. But I've just edited about 8 more videos to put on there today of different productions and revelations. So they'll be up on the site by tomorrow probably. You should have a look at that. Live sessions every Thursday. We got them tonight at 6 and all that. And they're all uploaded. So over 600 videos on onlinemagic.co. And like and subscribe if you like this and you want to subscribe to it. Thanks for coming. I was worried nobody come because I forgot to put it on everything. I put it on here, but I forgot to put it on Facebook and all that stuff. So today it's just going to be a little bit of going through the comments from the exposure talk. It's a bit grand, isn't it? Waffle that I did, and some more comments that we had about the 1914's overdraft. Not their actual overdraft. Don't know if they got one of them. They're doing very well. They're probably doing all right. But they're early business, probably. But anyway, I've got my laptop, which isn't fired up properly, but I've got my comments on there. Do ask me some questions on here if you want, and comment because it's nice. It makes me feel like I'm talking to people. And there you are. Right, Thong Lam, I presume I've completely nosed up that. Pronunciation. Easy for me to say. I'm good, mate. How are you? Gary Cross, hello. Got your video, watched it. Haven't listened to it yet because I was walking while watching it. Which is quite dangerous, probably. Gary, how you doing? Terry, nice to see you, mate. Stuart, and S10825, something that I can't read. How you doing? Okay, ask me something in a minute. While I'm doing this, I'm going to look at the comments from the... God, YouTube's done something weird. Why are those comments there? So this is about exposure. And what I will say is that I was talking kind of mostly about people teaching and tutorials, that kind of exposure. And there, I suppose I was kind of talking about it, but there's the other kind of exposure, which is just, here's how to do this, here's how to do this, here's how to do this, with no tutorial element or anything. I don't like that at all. And I'm not kind of, but again, it's there. I can't do anything about it. So I can moan about it, or I can just do what I said I'll do and kind of do what I can to make people kind of not be that interested in that. I don't think that many people are interested in it. They kind of watch it and forget it and go, that was a bit of an empty, vapid experience. You'd hope. But there's something, with tutorials, it's a slightly different thing, I think, isn't it? That's a great magic man. I'm going to answer that in a minute because it's good, isn't it? Chris Gillanders, sorry Chris, I've always presumed it's the G one, who says, why is it cutting off my comments? He doesn't say that. I want to know why he's cutting off, and I have to press that. Look, hang on a minute. You're going to watch a middle-aged man faff around, but why are the comments there? Why are they there, YouTube? What have you done? YouTube have put the comments in a really weird place. Why have they done that? Anyway, here we go. I think the effort is defining factor. I was talking about the way that people say that magic being behind a paywall means it's not exposure, but I was saying it takes actually more effort to sit down and learn something than it does to click a button and spend a tenner and just watch the first bit, which tells you how the trick's done. I'm going to get my laptop and put it here because it's upsetting me. Right. I think effort is defining factor. Exposure that just appears out of nowhere without trying to discover is damaging. The vast majority of people who make any, and why won't it give me the rest of that? It's not even giving me a read more, Chris. Sorry, mate, I can't read the rest of it, but I'll have a look in a minute and see if I can get that up. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, oh, stop it. Hang on. We might. Hey, we go. Right, we've got the comments up. So what you're saying, I think, Chris, is the same as me. It's just that thing of putting effort into it rather than just saying, here, it's done, I think. But it's still doing weird things. Very provoking. Andy said, thanks for making the effort to share your thoughts. I think the experience of experiencing the magic is what keeps magic alive. In my close-up gigs, often people comment with, I saw something on YouTube that can provide a pathway into shared magical experience, which in itself is magical. We can turn this apparent disadvantage into an advantage. Best wishes from New Zealand. Yeah, and I think it's a good way of, we don't have to like it. We don't have to kind of go, oh, it's great, but we can go, it's happening. What can we do with that? How can we turn it around? How can we kind of, create something with it? And I think you're absolutely right. Meximex, totally agree that effort is the most important component rather than money as a point of entrance. I always like the line, I like this as well, we don't keep magic secrets from non-magicians, we keep them for non-magicians, which is great, isn't it? It's a very subtle thing, but I think just to think in that way, just to change that kind of, to reframe it a little bit is a lovely thing. I love stuff like that. Regarding the masked magician, I mentioned this on a David Delman and other People's Palace of Prestidigitation partner video. I genuinely think Penn and Teller have done far more damage to magic with Fool Us by training people to think of magic as a puzzle and you're a fool if you can't work it out than Val ever did on this show. With Val, people may, if Val the masked magician, people may learn one method for one specific effect, but with Penn and Teller they're getting trained to approach all magic as something not to be fooled by. It's a funny one. I don't know. I really understand what you're saying. Do I think it's done? Because when I sort of weigh up what Penn and Teller Fools Us does, what it does that sound right? Fool Us. Penn and Teller Fool Us does. Fools Us. Sorry, just a little bit of a lispy moment there. Penn and Teller Fool Us does is it is the first time in a long time I've seen proper magic as performed. That isn't edited, and I'm not against some editing. For some things, if it's editing to make it mirror the experience that the people are actually watching them with misdirection and things like that, you've got to be careful. But I think hang on. Yeah, the way Penn and Teller show acts and close-up magic is a way that a lot of people will never experience it. To see people do their best stuff, and it's their best stuff and it's stuff that they would perform, I think is a really valuable thing. So when people say, where can I see some good close-up magic online? I always say, go and watch Penn and Teller Fool Us. Now, that's a different thing, I suppose, from what you're saying, Mexi, is that this idea of being fooled. But I suppose it's framed to me in a different way. That's the premise of the show, is that Penn and Teller, and actually I don't think they go back to the premise enough. The premise is that they've been magicians for years and it's so hard for them to be fooled or to experience magic as lay people. I suppose that's what it means, and I suppose it's a semantics thing and just the words that are used. But whether those people in the audience are actually experiencing that or they are just experiencing magic, my feeling is that they're probably just enjoying the magic and they're not actually that's kind of Penn and Teller in a kind of different role, because that's what they're there for, whether everybody else is just watching the magic. That's kind of my thing. I mean, I love this show, and I think it really is one of the only places we can watch magic as it's usually performed. And I know people kind of get things together that they maybe wouldn't perform, but a lot of it is, Jeff McBride's doing his act and part of his act's there, and people are doing their, most people I've seen that are doing the act that I've seen them do live in different contexts. So I think it's doing a lot of good, but I know what you mean, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm never right. I'm just saying stuff. Right, here we go, Chris. I can now read the rest of your thing. Exposure that just appears out of nowhere without trying to discover it is damaging. The vast majority of those who make any effort to learn something only benefit the community. I don't think there's enough people searching without genuine interest to be long-term damaging. That's a really important point, and I think that when we are at the kind of, when we see something we don't like, and I don't like any of it. It's whether I like it or not isn't the issue. It's there, but it's easy to kind of just turn against it and kind of hate everything about it and get worried about it. It's kind of a little bit like the availability bias. Is it like the availability bias? Let me think about that. So the idea if information is available for us, it becomes more real than information that isn't available to us. So when we see it all the time, it kind of skews, it biases us. Because we see it all the time and it affects us emotionally. It's not quite availability, it's a slightly different thing. But because it affects us emotionally, we then put it into the bad category. And actually there are nuances within everything. And I think nuances are actually, in all of this stuff, is really, really important. If you don't like something, that's fine, but it doesn't mean it's all bad and there's not anything in it that can be used, is the wrong word, but kind of brought into used or seen in a healthy way, I think. And politics is a very interesting one. You know, if we choose to follow one political party, we see that as all good and the other as all bad. That's actually a different bias. It's a Daniel Kahneman thing. But everything else is bad, and then we stop seeing the nuance in it. And actually, if we could just see everything as objectively, which is impossible really, as possible, and just go, what's good and bad about that, even if we don't like the title of it, and we don't like the person that's running it, and we don't like the general ethos of it, is there something in it that we can learn? And I think that's a very difficult thing to do. We tend to put ourselves in boxes and say, I'm against this and I'm for that. And actually that isn't really how life works. I don't think anyway. The Masked Magician had an effect on some of my illusions. This is really interesting, by George Adcock. It really cooled the reaction to modern art zigzag more than others. Overall, however, this is interesting, Masked Magician had less impact than I initially thought it would. Most folks' memory is short, and that's it. It's like, if you ever had that thing where you get really humiliated, you get something happens and you feel humiliated, and it's like the biggest thing in the world, and you just think it's never going to go away, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't matter anymore. It's like that. You see it and you think it's all over. And I'm a bit of a kind of catastrophist. So if bad things happen, I think it's all going to be awful. And I have to train myself not to and go, look, you know, it might not matter in the future. And I think that's George, thank you so much for that. It's great. There you go. So that's and obviously there's loads more comments on the video before that for the giveaway. We'll do a giveaway in a minute, probably as well. But I think that's the key. I love, in the last few years, I love looking at everything, even though it's really difficult with nuance. Again, it's not as easy as the way my brain is perceiving this. It's not a for and against. And what you get a lot of time on the forums is people that have had the same belief for so long, they kind of forget why they've got that belief. And it's well, not just the forums, it's everywhere, isn't it? And to sort of reset and go, actually, what do I actually think now? Or have I changed? Have my values changed with age and things like that? And definitely mine have. And I think it's a really healthy thing not to get caught in that kind of bubble. Magic Man. Why are magicians obsessed with EDC, everyday carry tricks? Musicians don't carry a guitar around with them just in case someone asks to perform well. You say that, right? When I was learning, well, same as I was learning to how to expose yourself in public. I'm going to put this up because I'm going to be ages from people. When I was learning juggling, I carried juggling balls around me all the time. And it wasn't so I could perform juggling. It's just every single moment I could practice, I wanted to practice. I could just like that get into a really happy place. Don't forget, this is before phones. So if we get bored for a second now, we go like that. But I couldn't bear boredom. I couldn't bear any kind of, I couldn't stop. And people like me with my mind are the same. So I picked the juggling, the second there was nothing to do, pick the juggling balls up, which is why I think we should get in that habit of picking the cards up the second we get bored rather than our phones. But I've got to practice what I preach, and currently not very often. And when I was learning guitar, I carried the guitar around me all the time. Now, I lived in a small town in Devon. It's not like going out in the city with a guitar and a lug it about. You know, we used to hang around in the park. So we'd have our guitars all the time. So there's that kind of thing as well. And I think that when we are hobbyist magicians, which again, as I always say, I see myself as well as a professional, I always carry cards around with me, not so I can perform. It's handy if you get asked. And I do carry, if I'm going somewhere I think I might be asked to perform, I will carry a nest of wallets because it's nice and flat. And talked about it in the lecture last night. You just put it in your pocket, doesn't take up any room, and you can do great stuff with it. So I think I think it's good to have stuff on you because it's there, and if you're a hobbyist, there is a good chance you will get asked to do something. So I think it's for that main list. I think of, if asked, what would you do? Or if you are hanging out with magicians, you're probably going to want to be carrying stuff around and do it because that's your hobby. So I know what you mean, and it's a really great point, and I love it. And it is a sort of, I get asked about it all the time, and my usual answer is that, or a deck of cards. You can do hundreds of things with a deck of cards. And then there's people that think, well, it looks stupid if you get a deck of cards. Oh, don't. You're a magician. Why would it be silly? But if a deck of cards was as big as a guitar, it might be a different kettle of fish. I probably wouldn't drag one of them around with me. So, but I do know. And isn't it funny when, if you ever been at like party or something and someone gets a guitar out and starts singing, and it can be great if the timing's right, but if the timing's wrong, it's just awful. It can be like that a little bit with magic, can't it? You know, everybody's having to just chill it out, and someone goes, oh, I'm going to do a trick, and it's like, oh no, but now I have to engage in something, and I was having a really nice chill. So yeah, I think a bit of awareness around that would be good as well. The guitars don't fit in your pocket. You learn beatbox, you can do that anywhere. I spent ages learning beatbox over lockdown, or relearning it. A backing track could be on your phone, though I doubt many musicians will have one really, yeah. To be honest, I bet everyday carry is probably more popular among hobbyist magicians than pros, because they're always looking for an audience outside their own little bubble. Yeah, and also, you know, I think we changed everyday carry because we want to try new stuff out on people. So I don't really have you know, if I'm, like I said, if I'm going to take one thing out, it's always a deck of cards. I've got a coin in my pocket anyway, and the if I know, you know, if I said last night, and for introverted people, this is interesting for me, sort of discovering why I do what I do. Is usually in a social event, I will not sort of force magic on people. I rarely do it unless I'm asked, and when I'm asked, I will happily do it. If it's people that know me and they're not taking a mickey, you know, if it's somebody who's never met me goes, come and do some magic, which has happened a lot. You know, can you come to my party where you don't know anybody? I don't really know you very well, and just do 2 hours magic. It'd be great, and people are thinking, you know, not that. But actually doing magic to people who know you, I'm quite happy to do it. And I think for me, it's sometimes as an introvert, it's easier to do that and have a focus than it is to, as I said on my Facebook Live thing yesterday morning, than it is to talk to people. And it sounds awful, and I don't mean talk to people when it's easy, but sometimes it isn't easy for me and it doesn't flow, and I get quite anxious, and to give me something like that, it's almost like give me a job to do. And as I said as well on my Facebook Live yesterday, if you spot the introvert at a party, they're the ones doing the washing up in the kitchen. Nearly said the bathroom there. Why would they be doing it there? So I always get bathrooms and kitchens mixed up. Not actually at home, just the words. Right, got anything else for me, or should I go now? Or should I do some more comments? Let's have a look. Oh, we'll do a giveaway in a minute. I got some, let's do overdraft, because I talked about that, didn't I? Oh, and did we do the comments on It's Personal, the sponge balls thing? Did I talk about that? I'll talk about that if you want. So I did a little experiment, because we're all a bit sniffy about sponge balls, and I did it on the live session last night, the Zoom session last week, sorry, for the course for onlinemagic.co. And I got the footage of me. So when I did, if you look on my Instagram, at Steve Faulkner, I did a sponge ball routine. And by the end of the day, I wanted to put this, and it was Michael O'Brien had the lovely purse frame, It's Personal, that I reviewed. Have a look at that. And I wanted to do something on Instagram for that. So I got that together, and then I broke it apart, but I took it out to a gig, that same routine, and I changed it a little bit and adapted it. And I wanted to, and it was a gig where it's a high-end gig, and they've used me a lot. And I took the sponge balls out, and I wanted to do it purely, and these people have seen all my best stuff. They've seen me do wiki tests, they've seen me do bottle through table, all the real winners, and I wanted to do the sponge balls and just gauge whether they thought it was cheesy, whether they thought it was kiddie. And you know, these are people that are not hard to please, but not easy. They're not kind of one of those audiences that are just going to fall over everything. They're actually quite an astute audience. And I got the sponge ball, that I did the purse frame, and they were completely transfixed by it. It was one of those things where people from the other table were looking past. People loved it. And I'm really starting to get a newly found respect for sponge balls. I think they actually look beautiful, as long as they're not all knackered. You know, the ones that are all like got fluff on them and that, which is quite easy. But when they look good and you do it, they're very, very strong. And I'm really kind of renewing, I suppose, but my kind of respect for them, and really enjoying performing it. And so for years I wouldn't, because I thought they're a bit naff. Peter, how you doing, mate? If people know you as a magician, then chances are they will ask you to perform at some point. So why not have an EDC scene of it? Yeah, and I do. And again, it's with respect, isn't it? Are they asking you to perform with respect? You know, I've heard you're a magician. I'd love to see something brilliant. You know, why not? And people are, you know, it's like, remember why you got into this. It wasn't just to do weddings and do a corporate. It was, well, maybe it was, but for me, it was because I love magic. And that's, again, my favourite time of performance. Like Ben, I love that book, Inside Out, and all the sort of context and scenarios in there are kind of with friends and after dinner. It's a lovely thing. And I'll get more nervous doing it, so I get a little bit of a buzz from it as well. How you doing, Michał Kaczałek? Have I still got that right, or has it changed over the years? Like like when, because I remember I asked you how to, Michał, innit? Yeah. You sent me a thing the other day, and I didn't get back to you, but I watched it and it looked great. So thank you, mate. And I will, try. I'm really overwhelmed with stuff at the moment, so if I don't get back to people, I'm terribly sorry. Right, so what was we going to do? Considering what it takes. Oh yeah, so some good stuff on overdraft. This is a credit card thing from 1914, and it really divides people. I think I think it's really good now. Actually, I think it's a lovely piece. Considering what it takes to have genuine looking credit cards, because people are saying that it's too expensive, and I don't really talk about the prices that much because if I tell you, right, here's the thing, and this is how much it costs, straight away you and me, we're going to be biased about the quality of that trick. If we don't think about the price and just look at the trick, whether you're watching a trailer or anything, and just go, what do I think of that? Try not to set anything else into it. What do I think? What is my feeling about that? And then you look at the price, and then that might make you go, oh, actually, and that'll give you an idea of whether you think it's worth it or not. Considering what it takes to have genuine looking credit cards, from Eric Henning, the pricing is quite reasonable. As someone who does a great many corporate gigs and money-themed routines, this sort of thing sets one apart from other magicians and can be pure gold. I absolutely agree. I'd use it as an audition piece for corporate clients, or a special trick for the booker at the end of the evening to get that repeat booking. I think it's, yeah, and I agree. Like I said, credit card tricks, straight away, I always go, because they never look like real perfect pronunciation. Oh, thank you. And they never look like real credit cards, and these do. And the reason they're expensive is they had to get them double chip, like the chip had to be on both sides. You know, it's got the proper chip on it, so it looks genuine. And I've looked at a couple of credit cards, and they just don't look right. And for me, if you think about the extra money, let's say you thought you think, right, it's a 20 quid trick, and you look at it and you go, it's 40 quid or 44 quid. Okay, but if you think about that in context of what 20 quid can buy you, 4 drinks. No, that'd be a really expensive drink. 4 drinks, 4 cocktails, right? 4 cocktails. Actually, 3 cocktails, depending on where you get, 1, depending on where you're going. But it's 20 quid doesn't get you far, does it? So if you think it's something you're genuinely going to use, as Eric said, I think just go for it. But if it's something that you're just collecting like I do, we all buy stuff, then you've got to think about it. And I think also the price sometimes is useful because it really actually makes you think of, am I going to use this? And it makes you think twice. And I think when we invest more into things, there's more chance of getting it and practicing it. And when I started practicing this, I was just like, but actually I started really enjoying it. The little thing I did on social media, again, I'll say again because some of you might not be watching for, at Steve Faulkner, follow me on Instagram because I'm putting more and more magic on there because I'm enjoying that creative process. And I found it a really enjoyable thing to practice. All the things actually, the mentalism thing, and the switch, and it's really, what's it called? Forgot the word. But the thing where they swap places, that begins with T, doesn't it? And this is what happens, you see. I forget words that I know that aren't difficult words. I'll never forget the difficult ones, but the normal, everyday words. And those of you that know me know that I do that all the time. So it's a really fun thing to practice with. So, and it's actually more versatile than you think. Peter, are the cards in overdraft examinable? They are if you do a little naughty switch, and you can do that because the trick's finished. So there's one that isn't. There's one that is, one that isn't, and the one left in their hand is. So, and you're given enough to work that out. And that switch is going to be so easy. I showed a bit of footage of me doing the sponge ball, my new sponge ball routine, based on Michael's routine. At a gig the other day, and I step back and they're responding to the thing, and I go to just grab another sponge ball and put in a mix without them knowing, and it's not in there. So I kind of go like that, take it out, oh, it's in there, put it out, and again, you can see on the video, everybody focused down here. So those things are just great. They're responding to the card in their hand, changing places, almost like a kind of Dr. Daly's last trick in their hand sort of thing. You've got all the time in the world to bring the other one into play, and then you're fine. Transposition, thanks, Chris. There you go. And when you say no rush, Mihao, what I'm saying is I might forget it all together because, like I say, I do tend to write things down. Always hassle me. If you've got something you want me to see, hassle me. I might have to say, sorry, I just can't deal with it. I mean, I will watch because it's great, but yeah, but you know, I've got this. You know, at the moment, it's weird, isn't it? Because you've got messages coming in from so many different places, like Messenger, email, of course, Discord. It's a lot going on, isn't there? And as I've always said, as human beings, we're not quite evolving at the speed of technology, so we're all getting a little bit confused. I've always been looking for Andrew Johnson, I've always been looking for credit card tricks because we have so much practice with cards. But those don't feel natural to bring up. Have you ever done card slides with credit cards? Yes, I have. Do you know what I did obsessively? Actually, not with credit cards, but I do it with credit cards now. I was on a cruise ship. This is going to be a long one, by the way, because I haven't got much else to do. I've got my live session soon. I was on a cruise ship, and I got really, this is terrifyingly 18 years ago. And it was a shocker. I've never been on stage, and I did a cruise ship. No, maybe 20 years ago. I mean, I've done a little stage, but not a proper, on a theatre, right? And I was doing the street shows, and I'd done my street shows and street stages, but I'd never done it, and they booked me, and I just did a street show on stage. It wasn't very good, and it's a story I tell in my show. And I was going on, this isn't anything to do with it, I was going on, got on in New York, I was so excited, I bought new clothes for it and everything, got to New York, and I was getting off. I'd never been to New York. I'm really obsessed with going to America, Statue of Liberty, all that, when you go out on the ship. And I was going to be on that same ship 10 days later. So I did the show on the ship. I thought it went all right. It wasn't great, but it went okay. The audience seemed to like it. And it was the first show I'd ever done. And I'd arranged for the people in the luggage place for me to leave all my stuff there. 40 feet of steel chain for the straitjacket. So when I get back on 10 days later, I don't have to drag it all. And the cruise director came up to me after the first, as I was leaving the ship for the first time, and he said, how you doing? All right, well done, nice show, all that kind of stuff. And he said, where's your stuff? And I said, well, I'm back on the ship in 10 days. He said, I'm leaving in the luggage, they said I can leave it there. And he said, I'll take it with you if I were you. And he was basically saying to me, you're never coming back on the ship again. And actually, I got back, and the agent said, how do you think it went? And I said, I think it went all right. And he said, well, they never want you back on the ship again. That was his exact words. They never want you back. Anyway, so I ended up going on another ship, but I felt really insecure. I got really depressed. I was on it for 10 days. The weather was bad. I wanted to get off in Russia, but they said, you can't, you haven't got a visa. It was just awful. I just wanted to get off, and I got really depressed. So I would roam around the ship. I only did 2 shows and it actually went all right in a few days, but I would roam around with the room key, and I'd just do that again and again and again. I was doing little spins and playing with that, and I'd just do that kind of, and I would just do it. I was just walking around, and it got and I'd be looking in the mirror of the thing. So that I do that as a kind of almost like a throwaway thing. And if you've got this sort of thing, you can do a ditch and stuff like that. But I think with credit cards, that kind of stuff, I think obviously it's relevant. People haven't got cash anymore, so I think it's a long story for that, wasn't it? But I wanted to tell the story as a different thing actually. But basically saying that even if it goes really badly, it can all work out in the end. But I like that, and I do that a lot, and it's very angly. But when you do it and they're not expecting it, then they're kind of, even if you kind of flash, they're not seeing it. So and I love that. So I think that, to answer your question, it could have taken about a second, Andrew, but there you go. I wanted to tell that story. So that's that. Would you like to ask anything else, or shall I go? Oh no, I've got some more things to do. Oh yeah, I'm impressed to see you review this already. Interested in this one. This is from Paul Bond, again, about overdraft. I was expecting the price to be around 40 quid, especially with the content. Great review as always. Yeah, no, thank you very much, Chris. Paul. And let's not forget, it is about content as well. It is about it's not just about the gimmick. And actually, Magic for me was never about the gimmick. It was about the idea and the work that's gone into it. And there's so much on this. So again, you're getting some solid knicker. Back to simple principles. Nice to see more contemporary. So much for me not buying stuff at the moment. Found myself in Prop Dog shop this morning, Chris. Well done. Yeah, I haven't been to Prop Dog. I've never been there. I like their streams. I haven't watched one for ages. Oh yeah, JR, that was funny. He watched 10-11 when you're not sure you flashed or not, and then the face when they react positively. It was a really good observation. I won't explain that. Have a look at the comments. Seems good for you when you already have them a little overwhelmed and laughing. Seems good. Yeah, so he's just saying the context of where that would be. A little steep. Yeah, I think people are going to find it steep, especially if you're not going to use it. It's not the kind of thing you're going to invest in if you just want to kind of have at home. Credit where credit's due. Very good, Gary. Gary Cross he sends videos into the. Gary is a golden human being. You are, Gary. He puts stuff. He just on our Discord in the course. He's so creative and just got a lovely energy, Gary. I love you to bits. Oh, like the art print on the wall. Where'd you get that? I'm going to talk about this because a load of people say that, and you think you when people say, "Oh, you can get something, you can make it yourself," you kind of go, "Oh, no." I got that. I took a picture of that. That is that thing which I got outside the shop from about a fiver. My Royal Road to Card Magic book, which is the older one, which I can't find. And all I did, put it on there, take a picture of it really quickly, printers down. I said, can you print that on a big poster? And they did it. And I thought it looks great. And it was just on my phone, I think it was. It might have been. But yeah, so if you want, that was honestly, it cost about a tenner to get printed. So if any stuff you've got, because I've said that, there'll be loads of very upset people that share houses with other people and they've got pictures of their books as well as their books all over the walls. What you want is your books and then a picture of every book next to it and then some pictures of your magic tricks. Take some pictures of them and put them all over the other walls. It'll be lovely. They'll love it. So do that. But that's all it is. Yeah, and just do a little bit of Photoshop on it. Get the colours. I wouldn't say right because I'm not very good at it, but so it's going to be a nice bright thing. Yeah, and I'm going to get the Expert Card Technique one done, I think, and a few of the others. So yeah, that's what I did there. So that's what you want to do. Or you could buy one for £100 for me and I'll sign it. Should I do more of these? Oh, this was a good one. Danny Marco, do you think the price is too steep? Yeah, I think of. Oh yeah, Erdnegs23. The main problem with purchase credit card gaffs is the audience knows your name. Why is there a different name on a credit card? There isn't, and nobody's ever looking at that. It's never even comes. So much so that I played with these for weeks and didn't even, not weeks. I had it about a week before it came out, and never even noticed it. Didn't even think about it. If it had someone else's name on it, that would be well. No, I don't think they'd even look at it then. Azathoth. This is one of those. This is one of those ones I like, and he's going to be. If he's watching now, is this guy speaking English? And I put 9, which I thought was quite good. And then John came in. Thanks, John, to my knight in shining. And don't be so freaking rude. I bet Steve is 10 times more articulate than you. Be kind or shut up. Yeah, John, I didn't say, but you said it for me. Thanks, mate. But there you go. Sorry, Steve. It's from Alan. Sorry, Steve. It's typical 1914. Very boring and very overrated. For me, it bores me to tears. Maybe it's the time, but it's a no. So this is things should be divisive. I think the best things in the world. My favourite films are divisive. My favourite music is divisive. The music that I love and adore, some people despise, and I think that's where we find the gold in stuff. And for me, most of the 1914 stuff appeals to me a lot. I love the way they think and they present stuff, and it's always there's so much effort into it. And I'm not saying every single thing's been amazing, but for some people in some contexts it may be. And what I like about the 1914 is that they genuinely believe very, very much in their products. When I have a little text message, sort of messenger chat with D, he's really enthusiastic about it, and he doesn't need to be with me. He's not selling it to me, but he's just saying I love it. So that enthusiasm bleeds through into the product, and I also think that with a lot of Vanish and Ink stuff. I also think that when I hear them talking about it, they're not going, "Oh, we're going to sell a load of these." They're kind of really behind the projects, and you can't say that about all. I think a lot of companies aren't like that. They're just looking at get as much stuff out and then sort of, throw it all at the wall and see what sticks. I'm not saying I'm against that. That's business. That's fine. But I think the 1914, for me, I really like them, even if, some people don't. And that's totally fine. So there you go. Have I got anything else? Do you want me to do anything else? I could do more comments, but I think I better go, I suppose. If there's anybody left. Is anybody watching? Oh, yeah. Right. All right, I'll go. I'll do more next time. I'll talk about It's Personal because I didn't do any comments on that. 40 minutes, that's too long, isn't it? Right, all right, everybody. I'm going to go now. Giveaway. I'm going to give this away. It's good. I'm giving away stuff that's good. I'm not giving away stuff I don't think is good, unless I say I'm just giving it away. So this is, I've got all the things in it, yeah. So Jonathan Fox. This is Orbit. I reviewed this well, I played with it, I showed it to a lot of people, it got really good reactions, and it's really lovely. I sort of exposed it then, it doesn't matter, you're not going to make one. It's a great thing, it makes your mobile phone float, it's really well made, it's something I wanted to keep, but I'm just not going to, it's not going to be something I use or do, because I've got way too much anyway. So I'm going to give away that. So it's from Murphy's. Thank you, Murphy's, for giving that to me. I'm sure they wouldn't mind. I'm sure I did message Jonathan and he didn't get back to me, so I presume he's all right with it. And if you win this, you know, use it because it's great. I just showed it to people. They've watched a review of it and watched a response of Natalie next door, who's seen loads of stuff that I do, and it just got a lovely response. So all you got to do here is, and this is a good one because I want to start doing like a regular feature, right? Have a little feature with a little sound bite before the feature starts. So a little regular feature that doesn't involve me reading 12 books in half an hour. You know, like you read 10 books and it shows you, but a feature that, so, you know, I thought of doing something like people emailing me with questions or experiences of magic disasters that they've had. Because I think it's quite funny, you know, not to sort of be negative, but I think, you know, everybody likes to listen to a story of a good nose up, don't they? And I've got hundreds of them. I'll tell you in a minute, Andrew, how the giveaways work. So all you've got to do is give me an idea for a regular feature on this that will probably involve you emailing me. And on that, actually, if you do want to email me anyway with any questions and you want them to be, you don't want anybody confidential, that's the word. If you want them to be confidential, just email me. I will swear to be confidential and just say, I want it to confidential, but I've got a question, this thing happened to me, I want to know how to overcome it. It can be magic, it can be actually a personal thing that you're struggling with, nerves and things like that. And I'll talk about that. So that's a different thing. You can always do that. steve@onlinemagic.co, steve@onlinemagic.co, and also steve@stevefaulkner.com. But anyway, what you got to do, no, Begging Brothers, you can do the giveaway. And Alon, who won last time, he won the Quantum deck. I do have it in my bag, ready to send. Haven't been able to get to the post office, but it is ready to go, packaged up and all that. So we're doing Orbit by Jonathan Fox. All you've got to do, Begging Brothers on, I hope you get it, because I know you enjoy a giveaway. On the comments after this, not these live comments, very important, on the comments afterwards, so this will be up on YouTube and you can comment underneath it. I want you to give me an idea of something I could do every week as a regular feature. It can be just emails, it can be something, and it's going to be randomly picked out. It's not the best one. I'm not going to look through them all and go, that's the best one. So a comment, just a little idea. It doesn't have to be a brilliant one. It can be just anything, you know, because it might then inspire a different idea. Even if it's really silly, just do it. Just put it. So an idea for a regular feature on this show, because I want to do a thing of pressing the button, it doing like a little sound jingle, and then going into that, because I like the idea of it, and I've been listening to things on podcasts, and it's good. So a regular feature on this, a little idea, it would be good. Did you already talk about exposure? Yes, Spencer, we've done quite a lot of that. So have a look on the comments, and also the last one that we did. And I'm happy to talk about, you know, all that stuff all the time anyway. Right. Thanks very much, everyone. You've been lovely to watch this, watch me waffling on. A couple of things. Instagram, @SteveFaulkner. I have got the Real Magic Review one, but I'm going to put most of my stuff on @SteveFaulkner and just the reviews on Real Magic Review. So go there. Obviously check out onlinemagic.co, my course, and do the competition. And there's one more thing I really wanted to say before I go. Oh, I can't remember. God, it's going to really annoy me. My mum always says that at the end of a phone call. She says, oh, something I want to say, I'll call you back when I know what it is. It never does. So, Invisible Deck, I will talk about it next time. Remind me next time and ask me next time, because we've got to go 45 minutes now. People are going to lose their will to live if they haven't already. Take care, everyone. Like and subscribe. Share it if you want. Tell the world. Bye.